Alright, why don't you get off of that table? Some say pickle the cat, others say don't do that. Tonight we're going to be cooking some recipes from the RuneScape official cookbook. I'm excited. This wonderful book. This is the RuneScape official cookbook. We're going to do some cabbage garden pie. And we're going to do some chili con carne. And of course, we need our dessert. We've got Karamjan Rum, banana. Sliced banana. That's right. Cabbage garden pie. Chilli Con Carne, and Karamjan Rum, sliced banana. Without further ado, let's get some grub in these stomachs of ours. I'm going to start by working on that pie dough because it does need to sit for at least an hour. I do have my mise en place here. Start by putting some flour and salt and some butter into a food processor. We're going to be just mixing it in the blender and praying for the best. So I'm going to get about 2.5 cups of plain all-purpose flour and 16 tablespoons of butter. And we're going to just mix a little bit of salt. This is a savory pie here. We'll see if I can make this work. That was our first cup, and here's our second. That ain't quite half a cup. I'll get a little bit more, don't worry. And I do have some cold butter. I need 2 sticks, I think. I'm going to need to cube this butter. And I don't know how small those cubes are supposed to be. So I'm guessing the butter being cold is kind of important. I think it's pretty small butter, but they look like cubes at least. These really are not perfect cubes. It's not like 27. We want to get it the texture of wet sand. It says 1 teaspoon of salt. We're going to say that's about good. Put it in your hand and make a little sandcastle of sorts. It says you're supposed to do it about 2 minutes, but I used a blender rather than a food processor. Alright, now you're going to want to dump this into a bowl, and we're going to add some ice cold water to it. We're going to dump all that in. I don't want to have to go up and put more wheat in that hopper. I play as an Iron Man. Hardcore Iron Man. If I die, I don't get to respawn. About 1/3 cup of water. You don't want any dry flour in this. So this isn't the elite ingredient, but I just grabbed a rose petal. Just add a little bit of flour. I don't think that's like a rash decision. It doesn't say to use your hands, but I'm not afraid. You probably don't want to use your hands because you don't want the butter melting. So I'm just going to go like this. It's roughly half. Wrap that up. Got another little disc. These are some interesting looking discs. And once you've got your 2 plastic wrapped discs, they go in the fridge for about an hour or more. Next up, we're going to season our ribs because we're making some chili con carne. I'm going to sit here and season these with a little bit of salt. We use salt and pepper, and we're going to heat about a tablespoon of oil or so. It calls for pork ribs and beef ribs, and also the elite ingredient is rabbit cankles. It smells like meat, I suppose. Alright, salt and pepper liberally. Just rub it all on. Salt Bay. And I'm going to grind some fresh pepper over on this. And I think I just put them in here, right? Get that all nice and flavorful. Rub. Oh, did you guys see that? Okay, maybe a little more careful with my rubbing it on the cutting board. So it says these are going to take about 5 to 7 minutes on each side. Well, while that's going, I'm going to want to add half an onion. I would say this is decently sized. I'm going to rotate these. Gotta add a little bit of Baptist today and let it simmer. Potato again. Yeah, that side's looking good. We're gonna do some other sides now. That's okay. We like to see that actually. But this is starting to get a nice brown color. I'm gonna add those onions because I need a bit to get translucent. And let go. We got a nice looking crispy on there. Look at that nice looking crispy. So I'm not sure a good way to get that fat out. I got this kind of scooper type thing, so I'm going to try scooping it out. I don't really have a plan. Just pour it in the cup. We don't want to be making some sort of fat stew. Fat stew is the guy I knew on. I'll let that cook for a couple of minutes. Now I'm going to add some garlic, cumin, coriander, oregano, pepper, cinnamon, and clove. So I'm going to add 3 cloves of garlic. Good, gonna crush them good. Garlic crushing machine. And it's a lot of oregano. I didn't quite mean to add that much oregano. Like, see? Mouse over there on the table licking the spoon. This cat, I'm telling you, I just got her, but she's going to be trouble. Anyone who says don't add Pepsi is a hater. In goes the cumin. Did I already add some cumin? I don't think I did. We add in a bit of cinnamon, a little bit of cumin, and a little bit of cloves. We cooked that for about 30 seconds. It's been cooking for longer than that. I add a splash of chicken stock, 1/8 of a cup, add like that much, and stir it all up. Now that that's going, we want to add the spicy sauce. There we go. I have made the spicy sauce before, so if you are looking, just click that YouTube link and it'll show you how to make your own. But for now, just doing that. Oh, I guess just the onions were supposed to be in there this whole time, not the meat itself. We want to get that meat nice and tender. We're going to turn that down. You want to leave the lid slightly ajar. So next, I'm going to make Karamjan Rum banana. Sliced banana. I don't think it's all too hard to make this. I got my bananas here. Come on. Something like that. You're a noob and you don't know what you're doing and you just try and use a banana on the bottled Karamjan Rum. To finish that quest, you need to slice the banana. Stick my finger in there and... Oh, feel like I'm in Jurassic Park. Kind of looks like I could be in Jurassic Park. This is just the RuneScape version of Bananas Foster. What could go wrong? I already shoved a banana in the neck of a bottle of rum. That's hopefully the most common mistake that people make during this. You're going to want to make this recipe on a gas stove. And I don't have real flames, but I do have a creme brulee torch. You don't want them to be too ripe. You want them to still be firm. Just slice up the other one. Same exact thing. Bang, bang, bang. Now see, we're going to use half a stick of butter for this recipe. I'm going to melt some butter in here. We've still got the Chilli Con Carne. Melt this in a stainless steel skillet over medium high. Then to that, you're going to want to add some brown sugar. This is not quite 1/3 of a cup, but I'm going to say it's good enough. And you can burn butter, believe it or not. We're going to add that. You're going to do this, I think. Let me get some cinnamon in here. Half a teaspoon of ginger and 1/4 of clove. Now, I've got the clove here first, so I'm going to do that. As probably more like half a teaspoon. This coming out pretty slow. You just want to stir this until it's nice and fragrant and maybe a little frothy. I don't know if this is how it's supposed to be. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir. Just keep stirring. Just keep stirring. And look, we're starting to get the froth and the bubbles. I've got some like 2x2s and maybe some 3x3s. We got to get these caramelized. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. So they're only supposed to be in for about 3 minutes. I'm going to add vanilla and rum in a little bit. Just flip them and let everything get fully cooked here. Now I'm feeling we're about at that 3-minute mark. So I'm going to add my vanilla. Just like a cap full of vanilla. We're about to make a big fire here. So we add the rum. You see that? That's it. There's like a little bit cooking over here. That's why this isn't a beginner recipe. And the elite ingredient for this is marinated yogurt bones. And you're going to serve this with cinnamon ice cream. Whoa. Well, it would help if I wasn't making a sloppy mess, but I kind of am, so the presentation isn't great. It looks better than a banana stuck into a bottle of rum. But you can see this one's a bit off-white because it has been marinating. Voila! I'm just hoping that once I get a proper bite of this, I'll be able to tell you it's a good recipe as well as a simple one. Oh, guys, this is so good. Yeah, the hot and the cold balance out nicely. The bananas are extremely flavorful. They're nice and soft. Just a very good flavor profile. It's so good I lost my accent. Now, going back to the Chilli Con Carne, we gotta add some kidney beans to that. Now, I've never made Chilli Con Carne, so I don't really know what it's supposed to look like at this point. It looks pretty tender. I think we might need it at some point, but I don't know when or why. I'm just gonna let it sit there. I'm going to chop up my cabbage. We've done boiled cabbage here before, so I don't think I'm putting a whole cabbage in there. I don't know exactly what's happening with this boiling water. Cabbages are pretty frightening. We want to take our medium head of cabbage and roughly chop it once we remove that core. Kind of just cut your cabbage however you really want, I guess. Like roughly. And it's so easy, just bang, and it's chopped. I don't like onions, they hurt. Why do we have to eat them? I used to not cook with onions, but now I'm brave. That's a song. And I think now I add butter and onions. So I'm just supposed to be cooking onions and butter for 10 minutes. This calls for 6 Romas. It's messy. This isn't really a good knife for cutting tomatoes. Pull back with the knife and maybe it'll make a little bit of a cut. I'm just kind of squeezing these juices onto a cutting board. This is not an official step of the RuneScape cookbook, but I'm just trying to deal with the fact that these have a lot of water. I'm adding about this much salt. It's not quite as tender as I want it to be. This is peeling off a lot better. This is much more tender. The pork is coming along nice. I want to believe I'm following this by the book. It's not quite done, but it's looking pretty good. So I'm gonna add half a can of beans into that chili pot where we have the spicy sauce. And we're just gonna cook those for 15 minutes. I'm gonna add some garlic, some thyme, some ground caraway, and some pepper to that mixture with the cabbage. So that's just gonna cook for like 2 minutes, and then it's gonna cool to room temperature. So I will see y'all in just a bit. We allowed some time for our kidney beans to cook and for our vegetable filling to cool down to room temperature. For starters, I'm just gonna take you guys over to the chili and we're gonna carry on with that. So we want to rehydrate and add some cornmeal. So I want to bring this back up to a medium heat, and I'm going to dump this meat in here. This is a very thick, meaty chili. I'm going to add some more of that chicken stock and just rehydrate and warm everything up. I'm going to pour not too much in here, just a bit. It looks like slop. Add enough of this to kind of make it a good consistency. Don't go up there, Heart. Which we're gonna actually turn to now. Here's my pie tin. My 3.141592653589799. So I've got 2 discs of dough. Here we are with those. I do have some Gouda, and we want to add 12 ounces of this. We want to shred it and put it in with the rest of the pie filling. It's food grade, but we don't need to food grade it into the thing. I don't know about my technique. I think it's pretty great. When your cheese falls apart, it might be a sign that you're done. This looks very cheesy. We're gonna roll our pie dough out, and we want it to be about 1/4 inch thick. I feel it's easier to roll with the middle of a rolling pin. It's very unnaturally shaped. For the most part, I'm able to peel it off. We can fix this. Try to make your discs as perfect circles as you can because it matters. Now this goes in the fridge to chill while I roll out the other piece. This one seems a bit more circular. I think it's harder to roll if you're sitting down. This one is much, much, much more round. I'm going to transfer the filling and I'm going to make an egg wash. No shell. Just around a tablespoon of water into that egg wash. And we're just going to whisk this up. I'm curious how this is going to taste because this isn't like anything I've ever eaten before. And we're going to add the elite ingredient to this as well. And it might be a bit full after that. The elite ingredient is 3 Draenor cabbages. Fresh Draenor cabbages here. Look at that. Chad, this looks all right. So I was supposed to brush the edge of this dough. My mistake, my mistake. I think this is going to help them stick together now that I realize what's happening. I'm just going to kind of crimp and seal. I have 0 bottom crust over here. So I'm doing my best. Ruffle, ruffle, ruffle. I'm impressed with how this is looking so far. So now I'm going to brush the entire surface with my egg wash. And there's little pieces of Draenor cabbage here and there, and that's okay. Then we sprinkle it with salt. And this isn't sea salt, this is just regular table salt. Already got a plastic fork, right? Why dirty another utensil? This is what it looks like, the chili con carne. So is this something you eat with a fork or a spoon? We're gonna say that one is a success. Ideally, he wouldn't be surprised and he'd just be like, man, you've cooked your way through the majority of the RuneScape cookbook at this point. But I mean, I had Pepsi to things, so I'm gonna start cleaning up and doing some dishes and keep you guys posted about how that pie turns out.